Now, I think you all know I don't do too many videos on Sundays. Yeah, I do probably 80 to 90% of my video podcasts on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I don't do too. Although I've done, I guess since last April, I've done a few. And I want to say this is maybe my 8th, 9th, or maybe even 10th video I've done on a Sunday. I think I've done 4 or 5 on a Saturday, and I've done probably about 10 to 12 on a Friday. But generally speaking, those are my 3 least days I do video podcasts, is Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Usually because I'm either traveling or because I have a fairly active social life. But yeah, man, now you know I did a video last week where the question was posed to me, not necessarily by one person, but by a number of people. I wouldn't say it was a question, it was more so an assessment. A group of brothers had offered the assessment of Alan Roger Currie that Alan Roger Currie, since he came to YouTube, he harshly criticizes and admonishes black men far more than he does black women. Alan Roger Currie, since he came to YouTube, harshly criticizes and admonishes black men far more than he does black women. So I addressed that not in my last video, but my next to last video. Speaking of my last video, I don't put too much stock in views because I notice my views be fluctuating a lot. But just on the subject of views, do you know my very last video, the one called Hit Dogs Holler, ended up having the 2nd or 3rd most views of any video I've done in 2018? Yep. That was either my 2nd, so far it's my 2nd or 3rd highest amount of views for any. My number 1 so far in 2018 was my video called The Number 1 Reason Why You Should Never Pretend to Be a Woman's Long-Term Boyfriend when you know deep down that you just want short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. That's my most viewed video so far in the year 2018. In my very last video, I think either is 2nd, no lower than 3rd. But anyway, 2 videos ago, I addressed that assessment that I harshly, well, I'll tell you the simple answer. The simple answer is, yeah, I do. I do criticize and admonish black men more harshly than black women. The number 1 reason, I explained this last year in a video. Here is the analogy I gave last year. I said, if you're an athletic coach, like a football coach or a basketball coach, like let's say Steve Kerr is the coach of the world champion Golden State Warriors. Now, do you think when Steve Kerr goes in the huddle with his players, do you think he criticizes the flaws and weaknesses of his own players? Or do you think he spends a considerable amount of time criticizing the flaws and weaknesses of the players on the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Houston Rockets or the New Orleans Pelicans or the San Antonio Spurs? Which do you honestly think when he goes in the huddle with his players during a game? You think he's spending time talking about what they doing wrong or failing to do right? Or you think he's spending a lot of time talking about what LeBron James is doing right and doing wrong, or what Anthony Davis of the Pelicans is doing right or doing wrong, or what James Harden of the Rockets is doing right or doing wrong? If you're a basketball coach, you don't give a fuck about what the players on the other team are doing, what they're doing wrong or failing to do right. All you care about is what your players are doing wrong or failing to do right. That's the same approach I have when it comes to men versus women. I am a men's dating coach. Okay? I'm a men's dating coach. Now, I do have some female clients, primarily under my other hat, which is, speaking of hats, you know, second on my pimp daddy hat. But next to being a men's dating coach, I am actually a BDSM consultant and advisor for a lot of married and unmarried couples and individual men and individual women. And when it comes to my BDSM consulting, I do have quite a few female clients. Now, when I work with my female clients and they start talking about what's fucked up about their husband or their fiance or their boyfriend or their casual sex lovers, how do you think I handle them? Think about it. How do you think I handle them? When I'm dealing with a woman as a client and she starts talking about what she doesn't like about men's behavior, the first thing I do is I'm like, time out. Shut the fuck up. And some of them get pissed when I tell them that. I say, shut the fuck up. This consultation ain't got nothing to do with men's behavior. This consultation has to do with your behavior. What you're doing wrong or failing to do right. I don't care about what you dislike about your husband's behavior. I don't care about what you dislike about your boyfriend or fiance's behavior. I don't give a fuck what you dislike about men's behavior in general. We're talking about you. You. So when I deal with women, the few women I have as clients, when I talk to them, or say if I was to do a podcast where I was addressing women, I'm going to concentrate on their behavior. And I'm not going to want to hear anything about men's behavior. When I'm addressing men, all I care about is their behavior. I don't care about women's behavior. That's regardless of if you're black, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, or whatever race or ethnicity you are. When I'm addressing men, all I want to hear about is men's behavior. And again, I say that in my books. As far back as my 1999 ebook version of Mode 1 and my 2006 paperback version of Mode 1. I say that in chapter 8. Never concern yourself with what you don't like about women's behavior. That's bullshit. That's weak. That's whining and complaining. But one of my followers sent me a clip. I think this is from just last night. Now, you know, arguably my number one harshest critic on YouTube, and some would lightheartedly call him my arch nemesis, the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper. Now, for those of you who might be wondering, Alan, why do you refer to him as the Grim Reaper? I didn't give him that nickname. He gave himself that nickname. If you don't believe me, let me show you. One second.
You will die in a pool of your own fucking excrement fucking with me. I am the Grim Reaper up in this motherfucking bitch.
That's the Grim Reaper's voice himself. So, for those of you who think I just kind of lightheartedly gave him that nickname, no. He gave himself that nickname. Let's hear that again.
You will die in a pool of your own fucking excrement fucking with me. I am the Grim Reaper up in this motherfucking bitch.
He said, you will die in a pool of your own excrement fucking with me. That sounds like he wants to do people some harm. Sound like that to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too harsh on him. Let's hear it just one more time. And you make your own opinion. Sound like he want to do some harm to people because he said, if you fuck with me, I'm going to cause you to die in a pool of your own excrement.
You will die in a pool of your own fucking excrement fucking with me. I am the Grim Reaper up in this motherfucking bitch.
That's the Grim Reaper. Now let's go to some other commentary by a young brother named Dominic Huff, I want to say his name was. As well as the Grim Reaper chimes in towards the end. Let's listen to this.
Alan Roger Currie, I get the fact that you're a dating coach. I get the fact that certain days you're going to do is all about dating. But from a business consultant standpoint, I would ask is why such the vitriol? Well, I can say that won't stop trying to say it. Why such the passionate anger towards a group of men, black men, and what I'm talking about, that you said yourself, that's not your customer. You said black men are what, tier 3, tier 4 of the men who do business with you. I'm assuming that with dating coaches usually a white male thing, and probably Asian guys and maybe Hispanic and probably black. That's just my prediction. So if you feel that a group of men that's just doing all this whining and complaining about women, and you say every group of men do it, but I've yet to see him go off on white men complaining about white women. And some of the stuff that some of the white MGTOW guys say, not all of them, but you got some white MGTOWs that make them city look like a choir boy, some of the stuff they say over there.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you bring that point up, Dominic, because Alan recently, but he did make a video with, asking that question. He rhetorically asked, has Alan been admonishing men more than he said YouTube? And my answer would be yes, but I would put the following qualifier or amendment to it. He's been admonishing particularly black men. And let me just give my opinion. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know his motives or anyone else's. So I'm just going to give my opinion from the outside looking in. I think the reason why he does this more to black men than anyone else, I don't think there's any one reason, but I think one reason why is because it's safe. Black men don't make up the bulk of his, people who pay his bills. So, it's safe for him to go after black men because black men don't read his books by and large, and black men don't make up his client roles by and large. So, if he really wanted to, like you said, turd flinging monkey is like way more, extreme than I am, for example. He's white. So, if he really wanted to go after white guys, he could, but he doesn't. And I think that's part of the reason why. And I'm not saying that that's wrong or bad. That's just good business. You don't want to, bite the hand that feeds you. But, he's about, that business. I'm about the truth. I don't care who don't like it. So that's the difference between him and I. Anyway.
Wait, did you catch that last line? He said he's about the truth. The Grim Reaper said he's about the truth. And he said that's the difference between him and me. He's about the truth. But yet the last time he interviewed me and I presented him with some truth, this was his reaction.
Stop!
Obsidian.
That's your answer,
ARCD. Yo!
Stop!
Yo!
Stop!
Yo! Yo! Hold it down. Yo, Obsidian.
Now he said he's about the truth. But yet the last time the Grim Reaper interviewed me, this is the truthful thing I told him. I said he likes to emphasize what he calls black female fuckery. And I told him, I said, on your channel, I don't have a problem with that. You can talk about black female fuckery for the next 10 years on your YouTube channel if that's what you choose to do. But I simply told him, I said, the problem I have with you is that you seem to expect me and other black male YouTubers you want us to emphasize black female fuckery as much as you do. And I said, for one, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not going to talk about black female fuckery on my YouTube channel because I think that shit's some bullshit. I think it's straight up bullshit. Black female abuse of black men. I'm not saying that shit don't exist, but that ain't a talking point of mine. So I ain't going to talk about that shit on my channel. That was me telling him the truth of Alan Roger Currie. And let's hear once again what he had to say. What his reaction was, I should say. What was his reaction when I told him Alan Roger Currie's truth about what I feel about the subject of black female fuckery?
Stop!
Obsidian.
That's your answer,
ARCD. Yo!
Stop!
Yo!
Stop!
Yo! Yo! Hold it down. Yo, Obsidian.
Doesn't sound like he likes to hear the truth. Just my opinion. Sounds to me that he doesn't like to hear the truth. Now, I'm no professional psychiatrist. Although I have to say, I have a degree in economics, and if you know about universities, they usually have a major and one or more minors. I actually had 3 minors. I had a minor in theater and drama. In order to have a minor in a course or a subject, you had to take at least 5 courses in that subject. 5 courses in that subject. And I think to have a major, you had to have 12. Yeah, it was 12 and 5. For a major, you had to have a minimum of 12 courses in that subject. My major was economics. And in order to have a minor in a subject, you had to have at least 5 courses. I had 5 courses in business administration. I had 5 courses in psychology. Let me repeat that. I took 5 courses in psychology. Matter of fact, if those of you from Blog Talk Radio were to remember, in 2011, I was actually going to pursue a Ph.D. in psychology. There was a few months where I was seriously leaning towards pursuing a Ph.D., but it was, among other reasons, it was going to require like a 6-7 year investment on my part. I wasn't willing to invest that type of time to pursue a Ph.D. because, PhDs, you can't get a PhD in like 1 or 2 years unless it's a bullshit PhD. Most PhDs, particularly if you don't have a master's in that subject yet. Now, if you already have a master's, say, in psychology, and then you go on just to pursue the PhD by itself, that could take as little as 3 or 4 years. But see, I don't have a master's in psychology, so I would have had to first pursue a master's in psychology, then a PhD. That would have been a total of 6 to 7 years. I wasn't willing to do that. But on the undergraduate level, I did take 5 courses in psychology. And the reason I bring that up is, it sounds like he got some deep-seated issues that he might want to think about seeking a therapist for. Now let's go back to this original thing. Now again, last week I addressed brothers saying that Alan Roger Currie, since he came to YouTube, has more harsh criticisms and admonishments for black men than he does black women. Now it seems the argument, based on this commentary I heard, is that Alan Roger Currie harshly criticizes and admonishes black men far more than he does white men. Really? Really? Fellas, you know what's coming. You know what I'm about to say. Insert dog face here. I don't like to call people idiots. I really don't. I don't like to usually refer to people by the label of idiots, imbeciles. But I can't help but to say this here. If anybody's been keeping up with Alan Roger Currie, going as far back as, I'll say, 2002, first time I really developed what I would call an active presence on the internet was around the latter half of 2002. I used to post on this message board, this very popular message board on a site called AskMen.com. AskMen.com. I started posting on there in late 2002, and I want to say I posted on there all the way up until summer or fall of 2006. So that was the first place I used to do a lot of posting on the internet, was a place called AskMen.com. Matter of fact, if you go there now, they took away their message board. I don't even think they have message board. But back in the early 2000s, I would arguably say the AskMen.com message board, and specifically their dating and relationships message, they have different categories. They had like sports message board, health and fitness message board, entertainment, movies, TV shows message board. Their dating and relationships message board, I would say in the early 2000s, was arguably the most popular dating and relationships advice related message board on the internet. I can't think of any internet message board that I can think of off the top of my head that was more popular and had more visitors per week and per month than the AskMen.com dating relationship message board. They had like literally like millions of visitors on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And that was probably the first place I developed a name for myself. Now, if anyone was on those message boards, they would know that probably 90% of the people on the dating Ask Man message boards were Caucasian people, both within the United States as well as abroad, from Australia, Canada, United Kingdom. Yeah, you had now, I actually, believe it or not, on AskMan.com, I had more female haters than I did male haters. That was probably the one time since I've been on the internet that I would argue that I had more female haters than male haters. Most of the haters I had on Ask Man, I would say at least 2/3 of them, 3/4 of them were women. Yeah, women, man, they had me banned like 7 times. I got banned from AskMan.com 7 times by white women. So women were my number one biggest haters on AskMan.com. But I had a few male haters too. I had a few white knight male haters. And just about all of them were Caucasian. I can't name one black male hater I had on AskMan.com. I don't even remember interacting with too many black men on AskMan.com. I think on that whole message board, there might have been only like 2 or 3 other black men on that message board who were fairly active. Just about all the guys I interacted with was Caucasian men. There was a handful of Asian men on there. There was a handful of Hispanic men, and there was a handful of Middle Eastern men. But predominantly, it was Caucasian men. But anyway, for the percentage of white men who came after me, I came back at them just as hard. Came back at them just as hard, if not harder. So that was number one, for those who know my long-term history. The next major message board I used to be on was a message board discussion forum called directmethod.com. It's no longer in existence. It went defunct, I think, around 2011, 2012. It kind of just faded away. But it was real popular. I started posting on there around 2007 through like 2009. I used to post on, no, I think I started posting on there in 2008. I only posted on there for about 2 years. Yeah, I posted on there pretty much the entire year of 2007 and the entire year of 2008. I used to post on a site called directmethod.com. And again, now most of the people on directmethod.com were supporters of mine. People who were haters and critics were very, very, very much in the minority. But there was a percentage, small percentage of haters and critics on there. And I would say probably 80 to 90% of the guys who were haters and critics of mine on that message board were Caucasian. And when they went at me, I came back at them. After that, I would say the biggest place I experienced haters and critics was PUA hate. Starting with, starting with late 2010, all the way up until that message board got deleted because of Elliot Rodger. I had a bunch of haters and critics on PUA hate. Now, PUA hate, it was hard to identify the race and ethnicity because most people didn't have a picture of themselves. They just had avatars. Excuse me. So, but I would assume that most of my haters on PUA hate were white. And the reason why is because they used to use the word nigger. They used to call me a nigger a lot. They used to say, "You nigger, what do you know about traction and seduction, nigger? You're a nigger, man. You're a nigger. How do you know about hooking up with women, nigger? You just hook up with nigger wenches. That's what you do, you nigger." So I don't think no brothers would be good. Although brothers, when we call each other nigga, it's more N-I-G-G-A, like nigga. Hey, nigga, what's up, nigga? It ain't N-I-G-G-E-R. So for you non-blacks, when you hear us black people call each other nigga, you say, "Hey, I thought that word was offensive. Why are you calling people of your own race a nigger?" Now, black people don't rarely call each other nigger. Again, N-I-G-G-E-R. We call each other N-I-G-G-A, nigga. Some people say, well, what's the difference? But believe it or not, there is somewhat of a difference. But yeah, I had a lot of haters and critics on PUA hate, man. But you know why I didn't mind? And you've heard me mention this before. I made money off of PUA hate. Keeping shit real. People ask me, "Oh, why did you used to go over there all the time with all those people hating on you and criticizing you?" Shit. Because what people don't realize about internet message boards, most internet message boards have what's known as lurkers. Lurkers. Lurkers are people who do not really actively post. They either don't post at all, or if they do post, they might post only occasionally. But they just come to the message board to see what drama is going on, what's being talked about. I got a lot of email consultation clients from the group of the lurkers. I got a lot of Skype and telephone consultation clients from those PUA hate lurkers. So it wasn't like I was just going over to PUA hate just because. I made money off of PUA hate. Matter of fact, I kind of missed some of the money I made, not being real. I mean, on the downside, there was a lot of drama over there, just like it is here on YouTube now. There's a lot of drama. A lot of people used to hate on me, but I made money off of PUA hate. So that's another. Now, finally, for those who say Admonish Currie only goes after black men, he don't go after white men. London, anyone? London, England, anyone? If anybody was at the Direct Dating Summit in London, y'all know I got on stage and went after a guy named Yad, who at the time was considered London, England's #1 pickup artist. I've gone after a lot of well-known Caucasian pickup artists. Yad, I went after him big time. I made him leave the auditorium. I went after him so bad. He got up and he left the auditorium. I embarrassed him so bad. Paul Janka, when he was on my Blog Talk radio show, I went after him. I even went after Robert Greene to at least a mild degree. And you know, I don't know if I talked about this on YouTube. I talked about it a couple times on Blog Talk radio. But man, me and my brother were just talking about this like within the last 2 weeks. He was basically like, bro, you've received a lot of like negativity from guys. You got a lot of guys who love you, adore you, and support you. But you've had a lot of haters and critics over the years. And we got on the subject of Blog Talk Radio. And I said, man, probably the most hate mail I've ever gotten because of interviewing a guest was when I interviewed Robert Greene, who's the author of The 48 Laws of Power. Yeah, man. I mean, I like Robert Greene. And me and him didn't have a contentious interview. I mean, I disagree with a lot of shit he said, but our interview was not contentious. I generally liked him and respected him. The biggest thing I had a criticism of him, his book, if you read The 48 Laws of Power, man, that book is all about manipulation. In a nutshell, that book is all about manipulating people. Yeah, Robert Greene's book, some people will try to deny that or argue with that, but that book is all about manipulation. It's just like Machiavelli's book, The Prince. Some people try to argue, no, that's not no, yes it is. That book is all about manipulation, man. And if anybody reads my books, they know I'm the antithesis of that. I don't believe in manipulating people. I'm totally against the idea of manipulating people. And anyway, one of the areas where me and Robert Greene kind of had a major disagreement, I asked him, I said basically, I can't remember what I exactly, so I'm going to be paraphrasing my own words, but I basically said, your whole book is about manipulation. So are you endorsing manipulation? Or what? And he basically said, no, I'm not endorsing it. I just wrote the 48 Laws of Power to make people aware that other people out there that are trying to manipulate them. And I basically was like, come on, Robert. I basically told him straight, I said, that's bullshit, man. The feedback you get on that book, people absorb the knowledge and wisdom you present in that book. That book comes across like you're endorsing the idea of blatantly manipulating people. So you're telling me you don't endorse those 48 laws, that you just wrote them to make people aware of other manipulative people? And he was real hesitant in answering. He was kind of like, well, yeah. I mean, I don't consider myself a manipulative person myself, but I wanted to make people aware that there are other people. And I basically had to go in on Robert Greene. Again, I respect Robert Greene, but I was basically like, Robert Greene, you're being full of shit right now, man. You're being full of shit right now. In my opinion, that book was written to endorse manipulation. They were like, man, don't be talking to Robert Greene like that. We'll fuck you up. I mentioned it. I haven't mentioned it on. This is my first time mentioning it on YouTube. But when I still had my Blog Talk Radio show, I mentioned that like 2 or 3 times, man. Yeah, that was the worst hate mail, man, I've ever gotten from people. Was after I interviewed Robert Greene. But anyway, back on subject, as far as people saying that I don't challenge or criticize white people, shit, I challenge Robert Greene. Robert Greene is one of the most notable authors in the world, man. But when he was on my show, I challenged him, man. I basically criticized him for endorsing blatant manipulation. Because again, man, I'm against manipulative tactics, man. I don't believe in manipulating people. I don't, particularly as it relates to dating and relationships. I don't believe in manipulation. What else? Who else are notable, some well-known white people, white guys I've gone after? There was a few on my show. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But all you gotta do is go on my, there was a good number of guys, like mainly like PUA types, who I interviewed on Blog Talk Radio that I went after. And, I'll tell you one other message board. There was like a 2 to 3 year period where I was on this message board called the London Seduction Society. I think it went defunct now. But it was predominantly guys from London and a few guys that lived outside of London. But I used to have a lot of white guys that used to go after me on there. I had a lot of haters and critics on that message board, and I used to go right back with them. I used to go verbal toe-to-toe with them. So anyway, all that to say is, for people who say, these guys, like this guy, the Grim Reaper and his friends talking about Alan Roger Currie don't go after white guys. Like I heard Grim Reaper mention Turd Flying Monkey. Turd Flying Monkey ain't never mentioned me by name. I ain't never heard him mention me by name. Because I guarantee you this. If Turd Flying Monkey was to ever mention me by name, trust me, I would come back guns loaded. Dude, believe that shit. I would get in his ass if he ever mentioned me by name. And that goes for any notable white podcaster on YouTube. If they ever mention me by name, I said that in either my last video podcast or my next to last. The main people I tend to offer responses and rebuttals to are people who mention me by name. They either mention me by name, Alan Roger Currie, or they mention me indirectly, such as that black dating coach who has the book about upfront, straightforward communication. That's the only time I typically will offer responses and rebuttals and that type of thing to people, is when people address me directly. And so, for those who say, well, I ain't never heard Alan Roger Currie go after none of these white MGTOW types like Turd Flying Monkey. Turd Flying Monkey ain't never mentioned me by name, man. Again, if he was to ever mention me by name, he might as well prepare himself for a major rebuttal and response, because I'm going to have one for him. And actually, that's not totally true. As far as white MGTOWs, I did do one episode. Matter of fact, it was one of my most viewed episodes. I was talking about views earlier. One of my most viewed episodes from 2017, I did a podcast where I criticized MGTOWs in general for whining and complaining. I didn't say black MGTOWs. I said MGTOWs. And I had a lot of Caucasian MGTOWs coming in my comment section, hating on me and throwing personal jabs at me. So y'all full of shit. Y'all don't know what y'all talking. Y'all talking out y'all ass when y'all say Alan Roger Currie doesn't go after white guys, or implying that I'm scared to go after white guys. That's bullshit. I go after anybody who goes after me. Believe that shit. I don't care if you white, you Asian, Middle Eastern, Hispanic. If you come after me, I'm coming after you. Believe that. Believe that shit. If you don't believe me, do it. Have somebody non-black come after me. If anybody criticizes me or tries to disparage my books, and they mention me by name or they mention me indirectly, they can prepare themselves for a harsh response, rebuttal, and admonishment from me. Because under the category of whining and complaining, I think any motherfucker who does a lot of whining and complaining about women is weak. Is that general enough for you? I think any man, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, if all you do on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis is spend time, particularly on a podcast, whining and complaining about the flaws and weaknesses of women's behavior, you are weak. Yeah, I said it. Quote me on that shit. You're weak. That shit's weak. Now, I want to counter those criticisms by saying, all the white men who are supporters of mine, who love, adore me, and support me, all the Asian men who love, adore me, and support me, all the black men who love, adore me, and support me, all the Middle Eastern and Hispanic men who love, adore, I ain't got nothing but love for them. Basically, it's just simple. You love and respect me, I love and respect you. You love and show love and respect to me, I show love and respect to you. It's reciprocal. You show love and respect to me, I show love and respect to you. If you show nothing but haterade and disrespect towards me, then I'm going to show nothing but haterade and disrespect back at you. It's that simple, really. In a nutshell, it's that simple. It's that simple. So, all that they said, that was bullshit. That's called talking out your ass. They weren't talking factually. And I thought the Grim Reaper, he says he's all about facts. He's always talking about, I only deal with facts. I only deal with stuff that's factual. I'm Mr. Factual. I'm the king of factual information. But yet he's always talking out his ass. Talking about, I don't go after white guys because I'm scared of losing money. Man, I ain't scared of losing money from nobody. I ain't scared of losing money from nobody. I'm going to always make my money. I did my last video podcast where I said the month of June was my second best month ever for audiobook sales. Admonish Currie gonna always make his money. Believe that shit. Believe that shit. I might not ever become a multi-millionaire, although I would love to. I might not ever become a multi-millionaire, but I can guarantee with 99.9% certainty I'll never be broke. Long as I got my audiobooks, ebooks, and paperbacks, I'll never be broke. I'll never be broke. I'll never be flat broke. My income, I mentioned this a number of times. Do you know, starting with 2006, my income has gone up every year with the exception of 1 year, and that was 2014. 2014 is the only year I had like a minor regression where I made less money than I did the previous year. Was 2014. That was before I came out with my audiobooks. Matter of fact, that was one of the things that prompted me to do my audiobooks. My first audiobook came out in August of 2014. But yeah, 2014, that's the only year where I didn't make more money than I did the previous year. But every other year, like I made more money in 2007 than I did in 2006. I made more money in 2008 than I did in 2007. I made more money in 2009 than I did in 2008. I made more money in 2010 than I did in 2009. Last year, 2017 was actually my best year to date. I'm not going to give you the exact figures, but let's just say, yeah, 2017 was my best financial year ever. And if I was evaluating 2018 based on the first 6 months, I would say at minimum, I'm going to make just as much as I did in 2017, if not slightly more. So, Admonish Currie, man, I ain't scared. Like, you know, again, the Grim Reaper tried to imply that sometimes I'm scared to say truthful things because I'm scared of losing money. I ain't scared to say shit. I ain't scared to say, if it's something I really want to say, I'm going to say it. Matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why my brother gets mad at me, my older brother. He gets mad at me sometimes. He's actually one who does try to encourage me sometimes to bite my tongue in certain areas. He'll be like, man, sometimes you too truthful. You too hardcore truthful. Man, I ain't scared to say shit. I ain't scared to say shit, man. If there's something I want to say, whether it's about men, women, black men, black women, white men, white women, Asian men, Asian women, ain't shit I'm gonna hold back on because I'm scared of losing book sales or scared of losing. Man, I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want to say. Believe that shit. Believe that shit. And here's what I gotta ask. You know, the Grim Reaper, why is he so concerned about black men? Why is he so concerned about black men? Why you black men who follow the Grim Reaper think he got love for the black community? He ain't got no love for the black community. I got 10 times more love for the black community than he does. So why is he concerned about black men? Get the fuck out of here. Let me play another, speaking of my audio clips, let me play another audio clip of this motherfucker who supposedly got love. Why is he acting like he got love for black men when he says this shit I'm about to play?
I will happily watch what's left of Black America burn in fucking embers to the ground with glee.
Who? What kind of black man who calls himself loving black man would say some shit like that? Huh? Explain that to me like I'm a 5th grader. This brother acting like he got love for the black community and more specifically, he got love for black men, but yet he says this shit.
I will happily watch what's left of Black America burn in fucking embers to the ground with glee.
Man, now speaking of him being truthful, I dare the Grim Reaper to go in the middle of Harlem and say that shit. Ha ha! Yeah. If you so bad and you so truthful, why don't you go in the middle of Harlem and call all the brothers and sisters around you and you say that shit publicly in Harlem? Man, you get your ass whooped. Believe that shit. You know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. You would get your ass whooped. You go on the west side of Chicago and say that shit. Call up hundreds of brothers and sisters and say that shit to their face in the west side of Chicago. Man, you get your ass whooped. Believe that shit, Grim Reaper. You would get your ass. Go in Compton and say that shit. Round up the brothers and sisters and say that shit in the heart of Compton. You would get your ass whooped saying that shit. Even in your own hometown of Philadelphia, I go into the hardest area of Philadelphia and round up about 200 brothers and sisters and say that shit to their face. Man, you get your ass whooped. You know you would. Oh, wait a minute. I can't tell Grim Reaper too much truth. Because you know what happens when you tell Grim Reaper the truth. He has this response.
Stop! 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 Stop!
Obsidian!
Stop!
Obsidian!
That's your
ARC! ARC!
Yo! Yo! Stop! Stop! Stop!
Yo!
Stop!
Yo! What? Yo, hold it down! Yo, Obsidian!
Hey, if you come at the Grim Reaper with truth, man, he gonna be like, stop! Stop! That's too much truth for my ears. Stop! Stop! I can't take it. Stop! 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 All right, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday and your week. This is July 4th week. So I want y'all to have a safe and enjoyable July 4th holiday unless I come back and talk to you before Wednesday. If I don't, I want you all to have a safe, because you know a lot of people, there was an NFL football player got his fingers blown off messing around with firecrackers and all that stuff, man. So I want y'all to be safe, man. And I'm enjoying my holiday week, and I'm getting ready to end this video listening to my boy. Since I mentioned Harlem, but I was thinking about New York. You know, one of the most legendary rappers was your boy Notorious B.I.G. And my man, Brother Xavier, he calls me the Notorious A.R.C. Much love to you, Brother Xavier. Brother Xavier from the Prophet of Thought series. He calls me the Notorious A.R.C. Let's go out of here with jamming with the Notorious B.I.G.
Who shot y'all? Separate the weak from the opsa. Leap hard to creep in Brooklyn streets. It's all, nigga. Fuck all that bickering beef. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek. Your heartbeat sound like Sasquatch feet. Thundering, shaking the concrete. Then the shit stopped when I fall the plot. Neighbors call the cops as they heard mad shots. Saw me in the drop, 3 1/4. Slaughter, electrical tape around the daughter. Old school, new school, need to learn though. I burn, baby, burn like disco inferno. Burn slow like blunts with yayo. Peel more skins than Idaho potato. Niggas know the lyrical molesting is taking place. Fucking with B.I.G. it ain't safe. I make your skin shake. On my living room floor, like Nintendo with seasoning. Pick up my phone, say Papa not home. Sex all night, bad hand in the morning. Spin my weed, smoke on my weed, tattoo on TT saying B.I.G. Now check it, you wanna be my man squeeze, baby? Don't you? You wanna give me what I need, baby? Won't you? Picture life as my wife, just think. Foot left, make fat X and all legs. Bracelets to match, conversation was all that. Showed you the safe combinations and all that. Guess you can say you's the one I trusted. Who would ever think that you would spread like mustard? Shit got hot, you sent feds to my spot. Took me to court, tried to take all I got. Another intricate plot. The bitch said I raped her. Damn, why she wanna stick me for my paper? My mosquito hole.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. 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 Oh. Oh. Oh.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.